Hey guys, Scrap It's back, and we're at the Take It Apart desk, but today isn't going to be us scrapping something out and seeing what it's worth. I've been running into a lot of BX wire lately, and basically if you guys are curious on what BX wire is, it's this aluminum armored wire that usually has somewhere between 2 and 4 conductors in it, including a piece of aluminum or not. And sometimes it's solid core wire and sometimes it's braided wire. So what we're going to do is take a look at this. So I'm going to do a little bit of prep work here, and I'll be back and we'll kind of go over some of this stuff, and we're going to see if this stuff is worth pulling apart or not. I've been curious and I just assumed that it was, but I really want to know what the math is on it. So I'm going to be right back. I see my batteries going to go dead here, so I'm going to switch out my batteries, do a little prep work, and we'll come back and take a peek at this. Okay, so I've got this all. We're going to kind of go through this a little step by step here. So I've got 4 different varieties here we'll get to in a second. So currently, as of today's date of June 17th, 2018, these are the prices that I get for what's contained in these chunks of BX wire. So if I just turn this stuff in straight, it's 80 cents a pound. If I pull them apart, the aluminum casing, because there's steel casing and aluminum casing. I'm not going to deal with the steel casing. It's not as, at least it's not as common in my area, but I'm dealing with the aluminum stuff here. I don't know if there's a separate price for the steel BX or not. Like I said, I don't ever run into it. And usually it's much chunkier wire in it anyway when I have run into it, and I just pull it out of there anyway, because it just seems to make sense to do that. So we're not going to deal with the steel stuff. So the aluminum casing, and if there's an aluminum conductor inside, both go as sheet aluminum for me. So which is at 60 cents a pound. And then the wire that's contained inside these things, the copper wire, whether it's braided or not, whether it's braided or a solid, a single strand or a solid core wire, I get $1.70 a pound for it, no matter what. So up here you see there's 454 grams in a pound. I like dealing with when I'm trying to figure out the math on something, because I don't have to use such a large piece. I can take small things like this and figure it out much easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a per gram pound, because this thing weighs a couple ounces, and then the number is going to get skewed. So that's why I'm changing things to grams. It just makes it a much more accurate number. So there's 454 grams. So if I'm trying to get a per gram price for the BX, I go 0.80 divided by 454 grams. So I'm getting 0.00176 per gram. Does that make sense? How I'm doing that? So then if I take the 0.60 divided by 454 grams, so for sheet aluminum, I'm getting 0.00132 cents per gram, and divided by 454 equals 0.00374 per gram. I could take it out further, but I mean, this will give us some accurate numbers. So this is what we're going to deal with, and then we can figure it out by pound. We can go back to the pound, but we'll get a very accurate number using small scale pieces. So just to keep everything straight, I'm just going to number these things. So this will be number 1, piece number 1. You're going to see what I'm doing here. So that's going to be piece number 1. This will be piece number 2. This is going to be piece number 3. And this will be piece number 4. Just so I can keep everything straight. So if you've never taken apart BX wire before, it's actually pretty easy. Just get yourself a good pair of channel locks or a pair of lineman pliers or even a good pair of pliers, and you just grab the last rib See how there's ribs? Just grab the last rib and just snap it over. This is how I do it. There might be an easier way that somebody else knows how to do. Snap it over, and then you can grab the end of the wire and it pulls out. If you're going to do it that way, I find it easier to deal in about 3 to 5 foot lengths. Beyond that, it just gets to be too much friction and they won't come apart. So you can see, you just grab the end of the wire like that, and it just pulls right out. So now I have the aluminum, and I have the wire, which is going to have just some plastic casing on it, stuff that's very easy to take apart, take off. So now that's clean number 1 wire for me. That's clean aluminum for me. So we'll just go through them here. So that was number 4. We'll keep everything together and straightened out. I mean, you can see it's easy to do by hand. So in this example, this is a 3 conductor all braided wire. So inside of this is not solid core wire. You can tell because it flips back into place. If I bend this, it stays. Okay? So we've got that example. And so here we have an example that has the aluminum piece in here. So this is aluminum, so that goes as sheet aluminum. And then we have some solid core number 1 in this one. So that's example that one. And this one is a 3-wire solid, single core wire. So as you can tell, there's quite the variety of BX wire that's out there, and this isn't even all of it. I've seen 5-wire, I've seen a 3-wire one that has a 4th wire that has like a double number 1 conductor inside of it. There's just a variety of it, so just basically you have to do the math, and it's probably not going to be too far off of what we're talking about here. So I'm going to set this aside for a second. So let's go with, where'd number 1 go here? Let's take a look at number 1 here. So we get the scale turned on. Got it on grams. So that is number 1 is 20 grams of aluminum. Mine doesn't want to sit on the scale. And 38 grams of number 1 for a total of 58 grams. So together this would have weighed 58 grams. So we can go back to this thing here now, right? So we can go 58 grams total times 0.00176 equals, I would have got basically 10 cents for that chunk of BX wire as it's at, so that equals 10 cents. The aluminum now, right? So now we're going to look at them separate. So we have 20 grams of aluminum times 0.00176 equals, so for this piece of aluminum, this piece of sheet aluminum here, I would get 3.5 cents, so we'll call it 3.5 cents for that. And 38 times, because now we want the number 1 price here, which is the 0.00374. Oops, I did that wrong. 38 times 0.00374 equals, so for the wire I get about 14 cents to do that. So separately I get about 17.5 cents. If I separate them out, I get about 17.5 cents to do that for this piece of wire. I would have got 17.5 cents if I separate them out. Okay, that makes sense. So let's look at this guy. Now this is the one that had the aluminum piece in with it. Now all these things weren't the same size, so the weights are going to just vary just a little bit here. So the aluminum is 18 grams. The number one is also 18 grams. Interesting. So we have a total of, what's that, 36 grams as that thing weighs. So if you go back to the sheet there, 36 times 0.00176 equals, so if I would have just left this whole and turned it in, I would have got 6 cents for it. Granted, I mean, this is a very small piece. I mean, it's like 10, 12 inch long, piece of wire. So at 18 grams times the sheet aluminum price, 00132. So that would have got, so if I turn that aluminum in the way it is, I get 2 cents for the aluminum basically. It's at 0.02376. And at 18 grams of the number one times 0.00374 equals, so this I would have got basically 7 cents a pound. So this chunk of wire is worth 9 cents separated or 6 cents together. Now this doesn't seem like that huge of a difference, but these are very small pieces, and when you're dealing with, if you find 30 or 40 feet of this stuff, it can make quite a price difference pretty quickly. So let's check out this third one here. So this was the aluminum and the 3 solid cores. I'm going to bend that in half so it just stays on the scale. So in this one, 26 grams on the aluminum. On the wire, it is 48 grams on the wire. So that's 1474 grams total. So 74 times 0.00176. If I would have just turned it in, I would have got 13 cents for it. And the aluminum was 26 grams times 0.00132. So I would have got 3 cents for the aluminum. And on the number one wire, 48 grams times 0.00374 equals, I would have got 18 cents for the number one. So I would have got, turning them in separately is 21 cents. Leaving them together is 13 cents. So 7 cents doesn't seem like a big difference, but when you're dealing with a lot of it, that can start to add up pretty fast. So this is the last example. Here's the aluminum, and then this is the 4 core of the solid wire. So I think this one is where you're going to see a much bigger difference here. So the aluminum is 20 grams. Number one wire is 54 grams. So that's a total of, now I know I took the plastic off and maybe that'll make a tiny bit of difference, but I mean, that plastic doesn't weigh anything. So we have a 74 gram total on here. So it's 74 times 0.00176 equals 13 cents I would have got for that if I would have just left it all together and turned it in. The sheet aluminum, 20 grams times 0.00132 equals, basically, I'll round it up, so basically, well, it's 2.5 cents, so we'll just call it 3 since it's rounded up a little bit here. And then the number one is 54 grams times 0.00374 equals 20.196 cents. We'll just call it 20 cents. So at 13 cents, if I would have left it whole, or 23 cents, if I would have left it, if I would have put it all, if I'd separate this stuff out. So obviously, I mean, it just goes without saying, the better the wire that's inside the BX, the better prices that you're getting. So if you have a two wire, a two wire with the aluminum core in it, is it worth taking apart? If you have enough of it and you want to do the time on it, it probably is, sure. I mean, any of this, you're making more money doing it. And it's very little effort too. That's the other thing. It's not like taking electric motors apart or transformers apart or things like that, where you have sawzalls and everything out. I mean, you do it with all the pair of channel locks. That's all it is. But if you have a mess of this 4-wire stuff, where it's 4 straight up solid core wires, this is probably the heaviest BX that you're going to find. Of this size BX anyway. There's maybe some wild variations of it, but that's a big difference on that one. Talking 10 cents over, let's see how much this weighs just in pounds, just to give you an idea. This is 2.6 ounces, whatever, roughly. It just fluctuates between 7 and 6, and it kind of finally settled on 6 there. But you can see, if you can start to do the math out, I mean, it's a difference of 40, 50, 60 cents a pound, and if you have a lot of it, that can be a pretty big difference in the price that you're going to get. So my suspicions were kind of true that it is worth pulling apart. It's very little effort. Once you get used to, if you're not doing it already, once you get used to how you do it, it's very easy to do. Pair of pliers, all you need, and then a pair cable, like a good pair of cable cutters. It's really hard to cut through with just wire cutters. If you have a big 12 to 18 inch cable cutter, you can buy them on eBay for 20-25 bucks. They're pretty affordable, and they're good for a lot of other stuff. Just don't cut steel with them. You'll dull the blades. Anyway, enough of me yakking. I think it's worth doing. Let me know what you guys think, if you guys do it, or if you don't, or if you don't run into this kind of stuff. I'd like to kind of know more about it, but I run into this kind of stuff all the time. Almost always I take it apart if I find some small pieces or pieces that have been kind of flat, like if the aluminum's crushed in there. It's really hard to get out, and I just throw them in a bucket and I take my 80 cents a pound. And then there's a couple kinds that I find where it's the wires in there so tight that you can't get it out, and I just throw them in the bucket and just turn it in as BX wire. So that's enough of me talking. I hope all this made sense. Thanks for watching my videos. We'll see you again soon.